Welcome to another video from Between CAD classes. This time I'm doing another Too Tall Toby challenge, this time for March 2023. As usual, Toby has given us 3 parts to speed model to see how quickly we can model them, and this is my submission for this month. I will put a link to the challenge in the description, so please check out Too Tall Toby's channel. As usual, I model for speed in this video. I don't necessarily model to create the most robust models, but I had a ton of fun making these 3 parts, and please, again, check it out and check out Too Tall Toby's challenge. Without further ado, let's get into the parts. You can see the first part I'm working on down here in the bottom right, so I am going to start with the appropriate template. I've set up templates for the materials that Toby wants us to use. And for this one, I'm starting with the rectangular base and then extruding it. Then I'm sketching on the front surface here, projecting that edge. And then I am drawing the curved shape using the click and drag method to get the tangent arcs. Looks like I already had a tangency there and didn't realize it, so I got lucky. I made those two equal, which put everything symmetrical. Put in the top radius and then the dimension from the bottom. I then extruded this 10 and flipped it into the part. Then I simultaneously created an offset plane 2 millimeters from the surface and started the sketch. And then used that to create my circular feature and then extruded that into the part 14 millimeters. Then I quickly added a hole here concentric to that circular feature. Next I sketched a circular shape. Took me a while to figure out a fast way to do this one, and I settled on drawing a construction line 30 millimeters from the side. Again, in a normal model I wouldn't leave a construction line like that, but for speed modeling purposes it was a quick way to locate it. Then I created a rib, so I sketched on the middle plane, I sliced my geometry and then projected cut edges, and then drew in the shape for my rib. Then I used the rib command, chose the appropriate method, and then flipped it to go into the model, and then adjusted the width. And then finally added in the fillets with the radius of 15. And that completed the part, and that allowed me to check my properties, and I can see how I had the correct mass there. So, on to the next part. Once again, a metric part, this time with some different material. This one I started with a circular feature and extruded it up with an 8-degree taper, and then I had to flip the direction. Next I did a shell and adjusted the thickness to 5 millimeters, but then did a unique thickness on the one surface of 10 millimeters. Next I added the fillet to the edge. Then I sketched on this top surface. I tried a few different methods until I settled on this one. The rectangle through the middle, I had that method from the start, extruded that in 5 millimeters, but then on locating this hole, originally I placed points, but then I decided to just draw a construction line. Again, sometimes it's hard for me to speed model because I'm used to drawing more with design intent and not really for speed. And then I did an offset plane here, 50 millimeters up, and then once again created a little construction line to locate this feature, and then drew my circle and extruded it into the part. Then all that was left was adding in the hole and then adding in the filleted edge on this one. Again, normally I would do things like hide my work planes and so on, but in the interest of speed modeling, I checked my material and on to the last part. For the last part, this was back into inches, and I struggled with this one originally, coming up with an idea for how to do this, and I settled with this sketch that had a lot of stuff in it. Again, I would probably never model like this on a real part. I would do separate features, I would trim, maybe use some construction lines, but here I ended up with a lot of overlapping geometry, but it allowed me to sketch it quickly, and then when I extruded, I just had to select each area that I wanted to extrude. Then I switched it to mid-plane, and then sketched the circular feature on it. And then after I extruded it, I added in the hole. Then I went ahead and mirrored the entire part using the plane here. Then I just had to add a cylinder and a hole to finish this one out. There's my final hole. And then once again, I set up a keyboard shortcut to pull up my eye properties quickly. That way I could very quickly see those and then, of course, move on. So my total time was 4:31. I think I probably could have got a little faster if I practiced some more, but it is March 31st and the deadline's in about an hour and a half, so this is what I'm going to stick with. Thanks for watching, guys.